And my dad will tell you about this. He used to drive Mom crazy because he wheel and deal all the time. And he's had some major, he had a 66 GTO with 3.9 3 deuces, 3 2 barrels. He's had a 70 and a half Z28. It's orange and white striped split bumper. He's had, Lord, if he just tell you, had 63 Impala. And actually, when they got married, they was going to buy stuff with the money they got from their wedding. Going to buy pillows and stuff. Come back out, and somebody stole his car. And they never did get it back.
Sure.
And that was his pride and joy. He said it was black with red interior.
Well, you mentioned the Z28. Datsun had the 240Z in 1970, 71. They had
I remember that, man.
240Z. You could get it for a little over $2,000. If you had it drop shipped, you bought it brand new and had it drop shipped to this place in California. They dropped a Z28 engine in the 240 and made it into a 240 Z28. And you couldn't keep the rubber on it.
I'd say not.
Yeah, no
but
way.
His most prized possession was a 67 Chevrolet SS. Had 386, 425 horse. And he offered to sell it to his brother. He didn't want to get rid of it, he said. But he was to his brother, so he was going to let him get it. And he gave him a price for it. And this is how I was taught. And you'll know why I am how I am. And he told his brother, he gave him a price. Well, when 2 years went by. So that painted it, put all new trim on it. And my brother came back to him and said, I'm ready to buy that. And he sold it for what he priced it for. He said, I can't. He said, I gave him a price. That wasn't including me adding extras or nothing like that. He said, but when you put a price on something, and he finally got to where you get the money, it might have been a year, he said. But anyways, after he painted it, put new trim stuff on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you're supposed to do it. He said, when you price something, you gotta let it go for what you said.
If you give your word, keep it.
Yeah. And my dad, that was real important in his life. Was the kid to have a good name. And it took me a long time, but I think he instilled that in me when I was young. So it made me want to be the same way he was, you know. He was the type. He worked from daylight till dark, 7 days a week. He'd go to church, and right after that, he'd paint cars.
Dad told me, he said, if you give your word, keep it. And he said, if you find out it hurts you, next time you may not give it so quickly.
Yeah.
But,
True.
But that's how you learn.
Yeah.
That's how you learn.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful sunshine. This is what it's all about. Maybe to me.
Now, how high was the water here?
This last time or the one before that?
No, this time. This last time.
I got up to it was about halfway up that block.
So
that second block.
It'd been kind of like right here on me then?
Yeah. Yeah, it was, you can tell it was, whenever I took a picture, it was almost to the bottom of the building over. Okay. This sits a little bit lower. Well, this part don't, but the yard does. And it was halfway on the second block. It was just, everything was floating. But the one before that now was past the second block, or the third block. It was about 3 inches up onto the house, if not higher than that. Like, I don't know how it didn't get in the house.
But I've moved, I think, 6 times in the last 8 years. They keep finding out where I live, and so I have to move and get away again.
Yeah, I hate it when they find it. But by the way, I guess I should have said this to begin with. Y'all know who this is, Mr. Jimmy Crowe. And you know who I am, so I ain't going to tell you you're on my channel. Oh, don't let me forget.
Yeah.
To give you some stickers. I got to remember
Bad mouth my truck and then gonna stiff me on a sticker.
I got to remember where I put them. But yeah, I got plenty of them. I got a whole nother set of 100 of them. I can't find them.
Insulted my truck.
But yeah, I didn't mean. I wasn't saying it towards your truck.
My one feeling that I brought with me got hurt right then.
You know, when we were young, you think you got forever to get to. And then when you get to that age, you're like, my God, if you could just instill that in young people's brains. Because I think, and honestly, that's why God made us that way, I think. Is because if we was young and knew how quick it was, we wouldn't really be able to enjoy the.
I thought I was going to burn through my life pretty quick.
Well, me too, but
I really did.
I mean, shoot, I should have died in 2003. They give me 10% chance. 10% chance, you know, when I had that car wreck, I had a tree head on, they estimated 65. I didn't hit the brakes or nothing, I went straight to the tree. So I was driving 75 miles one way to work. I wasn't getting off till 2 o'clock in the morning, then I had a 75-mile drive back. And, you know, it was cold. I remember it was cold. And I had the heater going.
That'll do it.
And I'm telling you, that heater put me to sleep.
True story. True story.
It usually means it's a lie, but no.
Yeah. Well, it was really cold. Really, really cold, and it snowed a bunch. And one of my apprentices was working with a journeyman who just went out, scraped the snow off the picnic table, sit down. That's where you took your break, and that's where you ate your lunch. You didn't go anywhere it was warm. So this kid come to the class that night, just froze, absolutely froze, and had this other boy, great big tall guy, and he come in. He's, of course, knowing it was cold outside. He said, "Well, I think we ought to go outside and shoot transit level." Okay. Well, I thought that little guy was going to whip me and that big guy both. Yeah, that wasn't. But we went outside. We went outside in the cold and shot transit.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I tell you what, every job I've had has been outside. Yeah. Up there in Indiana, when I've done tree power line currents, you know, it's outside all year. Like, yeah, now we're Bullock garages, built garages, so it's all outside. Everything I've done has been outside.
A lot of my life was on a farm, and you went out and you threw hay all summer, and I said, "Oh, go outside." I first got into labor's union. They had me inside, and I was sweeping floors, and I shit out. No, I'd rather be outside. And building the trades actually was more money to do that than it was outside. But I went outside because I like it. I like it out.
Yeah, me too.
I
like to be out in nature, man. That's why I love it. Like when I come out, anytime I get a chance to come outside and do a video, that's why you see me out here most.
By the way, those two young men I was talking about, both of them are supervision now.
Really?
They're both frontline supervision. Good kids.
Cool.
They're good kids. The little one still wants to whip me every once in a while, but that's okay.
It made them who they are, though. I think it's all about the path we take that makes us. You know, it's like I said. If I hadn't had a positive image like my dad, I don't think I would have turned out near as good as I did because I was off the rails. You know, you got woman in there will tell you some stories about it.
We grew up on the south side of town, and back then the south side and the west side was well, especially the south side was the low income. And shoot, at one point in time, we lived in army barracks and just had a dirt path between them. Well, it was gravel. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sound really bad. It was a gravel path.
Yeah, I hear you now trying to make
we like to walk uphill both ways.
Yeah. Naked in the snow.
In the snow. But there was army barracks on the south side of town. There was one big road that went around. But it was just like converted barracks into apartments. And so yeah, the south side was the have-nots.
Right.
And of course, I was small, and so I was always picked on, and that made me really aggravated all the time. So kept scratching that scab, and just kept aggravated. So
it don't matter how good you are to people, somebody's gonna talk about you. And I mean, it's inevitable. I was told something about somebody. Somebody was talking about me, and my first response was to go straight at the person. I was thinking, I was like, what could anybody say about me? I don't treat anybody disrespectful. I try to leave positive words to everybody. And it's talking about, my channel was a joke. I needed, if it was going to be a night channel, it needed to be a night channel. It wasn't about being live in knife channel or something. I had no business in the knife part of it. I just either do live or knife. And to me, I don't agree.
nice part of your life.
It's just like knives are life.
Mm-hmm.
And why would somebody would even say that? And for one, if you ain't man enough to say it to me, don't say it. I mean, granted, I did kind of get into talking about my situation and stuff. Maybe I shouldn't, but I felt like it would give somebody let somebody know they're not alone.
Well, it's kind of like this. It's like if you're watching a movie and you don't like the movie, change the channel.
Nobody needs to think they're better than above anybody.
I believe we mentioned this at lunch that probably 50%. And here again, I don't know the demographics, but probably 50% of the people that watch a lot of these videos can only afford budget knives. And there's not a daggone thing wrong with a budget knife. D2 steel, acceptable.
Yeah.
HCR, acceptable. Magnica, acceptable. And everything in between is acceptable.
Yeah. And that's, like I was telling you, I talked about it on my last don't make somebody feel like their knife's not worth having just because it's HCR. Because, and we talked about this, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to use your knife once or twice a day. And you don't, granted, it's nice to have, just say you have it. And
it's always good to have pretty things.
if you're trying to collect, it's different. If you want to collect, my thing is, I told Jimmy I wanted to collect one of every steel. Like, it's just something I'm after because you got to be collecting, wanting to collect some certain part, or you're just collecting everything. And as you're in it longer, you start prioritizing what you collect. And it's where I'm at. I'm at certain things now, of course, now because I just don't have the funds to get both.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I get a budget knife that I'm not really going to use unless I'm getting it for a giveaway? When all I can afford is one or the other. And it's. But I even when I first started, I even told I don't care these blades. He went from some budget knives to showing weeds and stuff. And I said, man, you're going to kill your channel. I That's because that's all we can afford. You know, most of us were, that's all we can afford. And not even realizing that I was doing the same thing. But he was getting so sent to him. You know, I'm not, I haven't got a company send me nothing. Brian not sent me like they contacted me. Jen Knives just sent me one day before yesterday, but they contacted me. I don't, like I quit contacting people because I don't feel I'm doing the content that I can justify reaching out to people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and a lot of people won't care because they just want a free knife.
You know, there's
a
lot
cold
of
too.
huh?
Your hands get cold too.
No, I'm fine. I drive a Ford. It's got holes in the floorboard, so I stay cool all the time.
You flinched on it, don't you?
Yeah, I did. I had a Chevy Citation one time. Got home from playing basketball, and I thought I heard something, so I got out and looked underneath it. I said, "Oh my goodness!" I run over a possum. There was all kind of hair and stuff hanging down. Got to poking around, and it was a Fred Flintstone. The floorboard had rotted out. All that was the carpeting and shredded.
Oh man!
So I'm not too far removed from a Fred Flintstone. We've all got stories that sometimes it's best, but I can tell this one though because I can now. My best friend and I, his mom had a bottle of sake that was sent.
Okay.
Sake, yeah.
That's it.
This is Japanese white rice wine.
Oh, good.
And her brother, Uncle Tashi, sent it over to the States and said, one of these days when I visit.
Uncle Tashi, wait a minute, are you Japanese or baby?
My buddy is. My buddy was half Japanese. Yeah. Konnichiwa.
Sasu.
Yeah. But anyway.
Better not say thank you while he's out to eat Chinese place.
Yeah. But anyway, David and I, we uncapped that sake. We had some Pabst Blue Ribbon and some sake.
Oh, Lord.
And we got plastered, and we drank it down to about that much. The sake's clear. So David filled it up with water, recapped it. 30 years later, Uncle Tashi comes over to America, and David remembers the sake, so he says, I'll open it. So he went and opened it. And Uncle Tashi just apologized all over himself about the poor quality of that sake. And David said, I said, did you tell him? He said, no. I said, I wasn't going to tell him. I said, well, you should have told him. I mean, that's been 30 years ago. He's not going to shoot us. You know?
I've done the same thing. And he ended up getting some moonshine that somebody had given him whenever he was trucking. And it was clear, of course, you know. And so I went in there and snuck out about half of it and filled the rest away with water. And Lord, me and my little neighbor, we was like 10 years old. And I was so sick. I got so sick. And he said, what's the matter with you? I said, I swallowed tobacco. Mm-hmm. Well, he believed it still this day. But, well, if you watch
the tell this video.
And
David, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And it wasn't, it was probably, I forgot about it. It'd been so long that I forgot I did it. Maybe 7 or 8 years. It was New Year's or something. Or New Year's. I can't remember who I was drinking it now, but as soon as he took that lid off, took a drink, he said, man, that's weak to be. He said, I know he would, it would have been stronger than that. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, then it hit me. Mm-hmm.
Popcorn Sutton is rolling in his grave right
now.
I
was laughing so hard, and I still to this day couldn't tell him. I mean, I could now, but Lord, you talk about rolling whenever he said that. Man, I could tell some stories. It's like I had my best friend. This is actually a tragic story, but we was kind of, me and him, 2 others, ran all our high school years. Evan, he pulled us around on a truck. The hood truck hood. He pulls around on him behind him on his four-wheel Ford. It was about 78. And we had the ball, man, we'd flip over and he would get carried away and try to, like, he would run like 50 and try to sling us. I was like, dude, man, you know.
What was he driving again?
About 78 mile forward.
Okay.
But anyway, I went to the store one day. It's when I was married, and my ex-wife now asked me to go get something at the store. So I went to the store, and I was pumping gas, and I seen him and his wife pull over with their two kids. Now he had kids, but man, I went to the store. I come back out, and when I come back out, there was 2 or 3 cars sitting beside him, and I heard he was on drugs. I didn't know for sure. And I thought, well, I'm not going to go over and holler at him. I'll wait till he's already got people around. I went home, and later on, I found out that he blew his brains out that day, right there in the car in front of his wife and kids. I guess there was an argument, but it made me lose a lot of respect for him because he done it in front of his kids. So I don't know what what was going through his head for sure that day, but it like killed me. I probably might could have said something. Till this day, I wish I would have went over there. I don't know what he was dealing with. I know he's had a lot of depression issues. Anyway, I don't want to get off on those sad stories, but Lord knows I got them.
Bother him because you're driving Ford, probably.
Actually, same from my house because he's driving. It was good to see you come down, man. It really was. I can't believe I ended up seeing Brian and you that quick because when he told me this is after we made plans. And he called me a couple days before and asked me if it'd be okay if he come by. I was like, yeah, man, while we're talking, anybody that wants to come by my house, I'd love to have them.
Well, and full disclaimer here, or disclosure, we was hoping to have this with
a
professional dad, but a couple of his youngins wound up the flu, and of course, neither one of us need the flu, and well, I hope none of his other kids got the flu. I hope he don't get the flu.
No.
But that's why that didn't happen today. But
matter of fact, speaking of unprofessional dad, go check him out, his channel out. I don't know a whole lot about him, but I have watched him on the TV on YouTube. Seems like a pretty good guy. I know there's a few people on the chats that know who he is. But shout out to him for letting us know if we're sick so we didn't end up showing up and not being able to do anything. We wasted all that gas.
I will say this, big on giving back to the community. I know that because I've watched some of his videos, and he's constantly having giveaways and shouting people out, and he's big on that. So that's awesome. And he's got a positive channel.
Yeah, it's like, my goal, I still do shorts, and I've done one live. I know that's what it takes to get out there, but I'm about to give up on it. It's not saying I'm quitting yet, but I'm saying I can't keep the knives coming.
Well, I know how you can expand your base a lot.
Sharpening and
no, quit dishing on Fords.
No, that's going to gain me subscribers.
Yeah.
No, it's a grind.
Well, I had some people. I was absent for a while about a month ago when I was in Virginia. There's very little internet out there.
I remember that.
And people saying, well, what's going on? What's going on? And actually, I did some social media detox, and it felt kind of nice. It felt kind of good.
It does.
It really did. not not that I was overwhelmed, but I find myself at times, oh my God, I've got to watch this. I've got to do this because I want to help these guys with their watch hours. So I do the best I can. So all I can do. And at times I may have 2 or 3 YouTube channels running just to get them watch hours and comments.
When I got sick, it ruined everything for me as far as being able to stay constant, right? Keep the watch hours and shorts but you know, sometimes we set goals that aren't meant to be set. If you didn't come or BC didn't come, I would sit here every day. If you guys anywhere close to Middlesboro, Kentucky, you know, hit me up. I was talking now, that's why I wanted to do the video. I didn't want us worrying about looking, saying certain things or answering certain questions. You know, people like this here down to earth conversations, what we would talk about if we do it making a video. You ever listen to a guy named Mr. Ballin?
Yeah.
Man, I've been listening to him for 5 years, 4 years, however long he's been doing it. You know, he's a Navy SEAL. I love his stories, strange, dark, mysterious. It's some of them really fascinating. You know, it makes you wonder what's really out there, you know. And I got into his channel for a long time. I was still into it, still watching. Yeah, now there's so many in it. Everybody's doing it. It's like, you know, what's the point of me doing it? There is so many out there. That's why I almost steered towards just doing live. You know, because people blow up just because they share their life all the time. You know, it's just, I don't know. And then again, I don't need to sit here and think all the time. So I'll try to just find something to keep me.
Well, I like watching the channels that's been around a long time. It's got a lot of subscribers. They've got a lot of knowledge. I like watching them, and I also like watching the young channels.
I like
because everything's new and exciting to them. And
it's like cool. Dan Stan. I ordered him a tripod from Amazon, and it shipped straight to his house because he wanted to do videos. And that's the other thing. You got a lot of channels that think we're competition. We're in this together. But for the life of me, I've asked the channel. I've asked the question in a group chat on how to do something, and nobody answered me. Like how to do something on a computer to make a live go or whatever. And BDC actually taught me. He's the first one that jumped on board and messaged me after that. But the thing of it is, there's about 50 people in this group I'm in, and not one of them. Nobody's offered to help in any kind of way. You know, and it's like I've ordered tripods and ring lights. I ordered even ring light too for 3 different channels just to get going. And why? When I started, they didn't nobody offer me jack. So, you know, and it was a struggle to get the stuff I needed. So why not help people? Help the ones that are getting going. You know, they're doing stuff the same thing you're doing. And if you're bigger, your video's going to show up where theirs do anyway. But I don't know. And that's one thing that does bother me is I know they're all busy or whatever, but it doesn't take long
Absolutely. I've had people ask me how come I don't have YouTube content. Well,
How
for
you
one,
gonna have time?
I don't. I really don't. Because I do know that it does take an enormous amount of time, not just the shooting of it, but the editing and all the rest of it. But I'm tickled to death to just stay on my Instagram and donate and help others. But I am so thrilled. I've had quite a few people that's asked my advice, and I am next to nothing out there in the knife world, and but I'm absolutely thrilled to see others doing knife modifications and stuff for themselves. Matty Alco, he sent his camera, and when I filmed some of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
And of course, I knew nothing about what I was doing. It probably looked like a good B movie somewhere.
Yeah, I watched it. It wasn't bad.
But
it was very informative.
But here again, one of these days, if I'm not going to be able to do it, I hope somebody else is, and at least modify their own. Yeah. And whatever you do out there, it's going to be a one of a kind, guaranteed.
So that's what I was telling you. Like I got the stuff to make resin scales. I got the stuff to do acid etch. I got the stuff to make a knife. I got the stuff, and I keep accumulating stuff, hoping that I get there. But I can't help thinking, man, am I wasting my money? Like a silicone resin, I could do it sitting down. That's what I'm going for. It's stuff that I can do. I can go out there and just sit there. And, Jimmy, I'm gonna hate to, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and get me a.
Okay. I hear you. I need to be thinking about heading back anyway.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm not gonna make it all the way home.
Man, I hate my situation because we could do some fun stuff together. It's just like you come down.
I've had a good time today.
Well, I have too, but I mean, like me, you can come down, man. You can get out in the garage and make some scales or do something.
Maybe we could get us a Chevrolet and we'll put it on my Ford truck.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the flat cherry sticker on there so they'll make it on. Bye, guys.
Peace. I did it for him.